Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. She'e Ralphia Bigay Yinishe, Hanat Nishle, Giflichi Taban Dashiche, Auto Ishin Dashinele. Again, my name is Ralphia Bigay, Public Information Officer with the Navajo Nation Division of Human Resources. And again, welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. And so this being a webinar, we're just going to give a minute or two for individuals to jump on with us so that we can begin this presentation. We look forward to sharing some information from Staff Development and Training Department, Division of Human Resources Administration, and as well as with the support of the Office of the President and Vice President. Again, good morning, welcome. We're just giving a few minutes for individuals to join us this morning. We definitely appreciate you taking the time to share this in this initiative with us. But as we're waiting, just some housekeeping rules. Again, this is a Zoom webinar and will include a chat and Q&A feature here at the bottom for those individuals who registered. For those individuals joining us live via OPVP's Facebook page, you're more than welcome to submit any comments or salutations. To just recommend and encourage you to be respectful of one another's points of views and when providing any feedback. For those registered, feel free to do the same using the chat feature here in the Zoom platform. In addition to that, this session is being recorded and again is being streamed live via Office of the President and Vice President. And again, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We have about over 200 Navajo Nation employees registered for this particular event. And so we're excited for the engagement as well as the interest, both within the Navajo Nation workforce as well as the general public. So again, good morning to everyone. We'll just get started here shortly. Great to see all the good morning messages here in the chat. Thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. So with that, we'll just go ahead and get started. It is about 9:03 on my end. So again, good morning. My name is Ralph Albigay, Public Information Officer with the Navajo Nation Division of Human Resources, and welcome to the virtual NANIT'IN webinar series. This is the third out of the 4-part series. And again, this is in collaboration with Staff Development and Training Department, Office of President and Vice President, and our Office Division of Human Resources Administration. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Shar Kruger, Training Manager for Staff Development and Training Department, who will provide some opening remarks this morning prior to today's presentation. So with that, Shar, the floor is yours.
Okay, yeah, bene. Da is nog tsagi. She'eya Shar Kruger yinishke. Ado thodich ni ein shnido ki ani ebashichin. Tochane eda shichena kaiden eda shnala. Kuta a san nishle. Ado Staff Development Training Department a adanash training manager halya a aja shanan nishko. Ish inkad. Ako ahyaha adan. Hata isio gizito da is So this morning I want to say thank you to everybody that has tuned in and is live watching virtually Zoom or the Facebook live there. So I just want to say thank you. And thank you for joining us today. So one of the things that we want to talk about is, the webinar series that we have put together. Again, like Mr. Begay had mentioned that, we're all working together as a team to provide these services, not just for our Navajo Nation employees, but it is open to our people, the community, and whoever is interested. We have done the webinar series, customer service and sexual harassment, which, had a great turnout, and just want to remind everybody listening that, Staff Development Training Department provides customer service, as well as sexual harassment. And then of course the leadership will be coming into play here shortly. And so I really would recommend that, you visit our website and see what, trainings that we provide. I also want to say, I'll give a shout out to all those that have attended or were in attendance for some of our presentation during the administrative week. It was very, very good, and we had some good presenters that came in and did a collaboration with us. I appreciate them as well. There's several to name, but they know who they are. So I just want to say thank you to all of those that have attended, and keep checking our website, and we do send out announcements. We are planning on some other presentation as well. And then for today's webinar series is leadership. Not only people that are in the position of being a leader, and everybody is a leader. So Dr. Fowler, who is our DHR director, she's been in that capacity for us as well, and we have been working with her very closely and kind of bouncing ideas off of. So today you're going to get a really good presentation. So I just want to commend her and say thank you, and then of course to Raphael and Eli, and then everybody that's helping out from Navajo Nation Office of the President and Vice President. And so I want to say enjoy. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box, and hopefully we get to answer some of them if we have some time for that. So ado ich ha enan kidish ni do le joshi da isno do le to nishuna go ein he da do as ich ha Raphael.
Thank you for that, Shar. Definitely appreciate those opening remarks. Again, we definitely encourage everyone to engage with the webinar series as well as the training offered by staff development. So with that, we'll go ahead and transition to the presentation provided by Dr. Fowler, Division Director of Human Resources with Leadership Skills. Dr. Fowler, the floor is yours.
Shas twisazani it can't do it can't aro a dasnashim no senido not ani be dan hit itledi jo e ani a kodon hit hanane ziton na tien olieni kodon besnaho ai ba hensen aro e na tien olieni e do donnet ita o you go e ya na tien polla aro kodoni dish shady ma ideshkis nin shlon todich eating bashchin aro trapa edash chego clash edashinale totas ahol yera are yese chishike. I'd like to welcome all the listeners, everybody, for tuning in this morning. And our topic today is leadership skills. There's so much that we like to share, and with the webinar series, I have to really be strategic about giving a 1 hour session. And, I'm looking forward to the presentation and sharing with you. And back when my elders and brought to my attention, these are some of the skills that you would need in a workplace, but all the skills would start from the home. So as a division director of human resources, my priority is providing numerous trainings and numerous orientations and so forth. But I am born for Coyote Pass, born into Bitterwater, and my paternal clan, the Red Bottom, my maternal clan is the Water Edge people. So that's who I am. I'm originally from Wheatfield, Arizona, Lower Wheatfield. And it's good to move back home and left so many years back to go to school, to get myself educated, to really experience the world outside of the Navajo Nation, and coming back, making the circle has been a great experience. So all the skills that I'll talk about is from all the various positions that I've held and leading into leadership. And I'll be using both languages. And the nebazaji to ajito additional edo janoshi ben hitiniti. So before I get started, I'll go ahead and hand it off to our president who is on the line right now. So let me stop sharing my screen here first, and then we'll go ahead and get him started here. So Mr. President, we'll give you the floor before I start. Thank you for joining us, Mr. President. You have the floor.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Fowler, and thank you to everyone that's watching the third presentation for the Division of Human Resources virtual webinar series. Junli na kitrat mo ata edi asa andes ne ya da customer service kudo jo yada hit dole dolce yada hit dole no job da kudo ni keni hinna la na dans ajin khanda nashigi ni Washington is anje ya cabinet do hajodo benach koni keni hinna yada hit dole no أكو شيء أهغنس أنا شيء كون خندال نشي كيني نشي لا بنتأستلو ده جدي ناكينا خيكت COVID-19 تشتويتيني نا بي كنا بيجيني خاطنا هن كنا إيشي دوت لبنينا كون لا نخندال نشي لا تو بالحجم ده شيء بالنتأستلي لا شيء يكون كيني النابتة نداول ده يبتشر جو أي شيء ده بالناتشر كون آني السكوا هن يجي بدول نيل عادة دنيش الناس نيكتو جوال يلتيو دي كده هن أدو نانتينا أبول تخا eben natje edi kon kedo hajon da do tlesnishi so eben in ya di go customer service to sexual harassment awareness auto teaching leadership skills le not the more when a motivation and understanding techniques with the ego hota aniet hanan get udal neto to nakhandal nashigi anet isnot agi Washington banda shini Washington here dan nido de ashi ni o ni doni jada stil slashin econ andi ni gender has ni tsis ba gender has die konsentragin hast it's out da it's ado akonda hada inof nido naso bans de kestjo slashin koni keni nadin die biche na of de nishni ado akon andi inade inigishi andi hinan shtahalot ado jo kon yikeni na jo yelti ye yenache chanatan lido le doye hada lido jo ese shigeno klini kudo Dr. Fowler Perfilia Fowler yiche ha beta hens in Division of Human Resources has aje atsilide lido نجنا قد نك أشي نخيل تيتو نخندال نشيدو يجي يلتيو يجي شنا إن الزنا أخذ أبنا نش إيش باهين ينزل كدو sister شدشين ليدو إبنا شيء كه جو كهجي بنا شيء ناس نخيل ديني كا. We welcome you to the Human Resource Virtual Webinar Series, Leadership Skills today. It's an overview of various leadership styles, qualities, and skills. And of course, we incorporate our way of life teaching and also how that affects the way we serve our Navajo people. Not lead, but to serve, right? It's about facilitating discussions in our meetings. And in those of you that are watching that are from the public, we appreciate that. And I know that these are leadership skills, servanthood skills that we all are received today. We have gone through 2 previous presentations: customer service, sexual harassment awareness, and now leadership skills. Motivation and understanding techniques is next week on May 18th. We ask that you all join us for that presentation. And to our staff, the Division of Human Resources that are on the call today and that are listening, including Raphael and others, thank you so much for the hard work that you all are doing for our Navajo Nation employees. Presentations from the team, Shar Kruger. Thank you, Eli Leslie from our office for doing the videos so that we can reach many people. And I know that it's a work day, so some of our staff may be watching this until after work. And we just want to empower our staff with the weapons that are needed to help combat these monsters that maybe our staff are going through. Little do people know, we are all affected by these monsters. Maybe a operator that is working right now might have had a bad evening, maybe with someone in their family that has been in an alcoholic or drug state of mind all night, dealing with a family member that's doing that, or maybe some abuse. And then they come to work and they have to put on that customer service face, right? And I'm sure it's difficult because of what they may be going through. But what we want is for all of us to identify some of these issues in our community so that we can reach out to help our people, to identify certain things that may be troubling our employees, to reach out and say, do you need help? I'm here for you. Let's pray together, rather than just walking by an individual who may be going through some difficult times. See, these presentations will help you identify someone that is hurting so we can bring them back to balance as much as we can so that there can be better customer service, better awareness, better skills, better techniques in our workforce. So we're all in this together, ladies and gentlemen. Our visitors that are watching, our constituents, these types of presentations can help you, even at home in our communities, to make a better Navajo Nation. We went through some difficult times with COVID-19, but now is the time for healing. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those that have lost loved ones, those that are having some difficult times with their health because of COVID. But as we slowly transition out, we have to remind ourselves that it is a time to talk about what we went through these 2 years, COVID-19. Talk about what our homes are like, and to also make sure that these types of information are used, that they can be applied in our homes so that we can heal, not just as a person, not just as a family, but as a nation as well. And I commend everyone for doing an outstanding job pushing back on COVID-19. People helped each other out. We're still wearing masks. We're getting vaccinated. Continue to do that. And let's not stop what we're doing. There is some research going on about COVID-19 possibly surging back up in the fall. And so let's continue to follow these protocols here on the Navajo Nation. Take care of yourself. Thank you again, Nomination employees. Thank you for all listening to the leadership skills presentation today. And those who have helped, we appreciate your hard work. So thank you and God bless. And I'll turn the time back over to Raphael or Dr. Fowler. Take care.
Thank you very much for that, Sir President, and for those encouraging words. So with that, we'll transition back to Dr. Fowler for her presentation regarding leadership skills. Dr. Fowler, the floor is yours.
Ich had to aden hitching to do Nadok Kodo na Henson, Ado not anin long, Kodo hol gesto, what abit haddy kaido than it no Kodo not ani than it len ko he, Kodon hitching to na Henson, Ado Vice President Myron Lizer, Chiyashi to East Conado he had Chiyash, Kok Ashinasto le Chicago shouldn't. They had a leadership trait. So yeah, accountability. A good leader takes little more than his or her share of the blame and little less than his or her share of the credit. Takes responsibility for everyone's performance, including their own. These are some of the traits that we ought to have. Communication, good communication skills are absolutely crucial. Using language to perform one-on-one communication is really all the way we has been being a human being. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. And the next one is really important, is the empathy. A true leader has enough open-mindedness to understand their followers' motivations, hopes, dreams, and problems, so that they can forge a deep personal connection with them. And as a leader, this trait is really important. Have that open mind and to understand your staff, and not only your staff, but also your supervisor. Humility. It can be tempting to become a norm with a new title. A great leader will focus on problem solving more than the self-promotion. You want to be accountable. You want to have good communication. You want to have the integrity. It's to the point of where you're like in a crystal ball. Ba ako jilyan do sheto khata zinzo ha shi deep la banjaga asla di ho khanai ako itsa ho wada nalwa nle de hot ona gata hot no da adoha homne cleanless. But to have these traits is really, if we're limiting ourselves to some of these, those are some of the practices that we need to practice, is learning how to have these traits, becoming accountable. And it's just not supervisors. Just because you practice accountability, that does not mean you continue to push it on your staff. The staff, you want to build accountability on your staff. It starts with you as a leader. You become accountable for what you are hired to do. You properly communicate what needs to be communicated to your staff. According to the idea of transformational leadership, an effective leader is a person who does the following: is one that creates an inspiring vision of the future, motivates and inspires people to engage with that vision, manages delivery of the vision, coaches and builds a team so that is more effective at achieving this vision. So leadership brings together the skills needed to do things. So when we talk about this, Not ani lini ein la khatso kwas. Ado ka ishin ye na nishi ihi jahle. Ado bandad nishito ka ishin ye da anito yine klido yilanel ani eat ehihi nesho adon jono program ishi beta anishita tilo la oyot ahot la oyo beshoye ota la oyo yichne no akwa on yeshle. Okay, so these are some of the skills that we want to teach our people. The words leader and leadership are often used incorrectly to describe people who are actually managing. A leader, managers, supervisors, these individuals may be highly skilled, good at their jobs, and are valuable to an organization. But that just makes them an excellent managers, not leaders. Not hada not ani sunli ehot ati ba hulianti ba hunzen ano ana let isa lini beyan tki bahas tki jo edo sato papa nahatishne aja baho jija. So this is one of the things that we often use it different. So when you say there comes that leader, sometimes we may get intimidated, or we may feel that we're in a hostile environment. But maybe the individual is just a good manager or a good supervisor and not really a leader. What should be used in your day-to-day leadership skills? A lot of our leaders, they use this, but not all of them practice this. Visibility is really important. This is day to day. Every leader, nahon jaga, you check on your staff, go to your programs. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Nahon jagado. Visibility is really important. Proper greeting, and that builds that strong respect. It does not build it to where like how a lot of people think, oh yeah, she's so-and-so's pet, he's so-and-so's pet. It's not that. That proper greeting really builds a positive, respectful relationship. So if you do that with your staff, your co-workers, you're going to get more of a better outcome of your program. And acknowledgement, every day acknowledge they are here, acknowledge them. These, and be supportive of a lot of the programs and their projects. There's so many things that we do in each division, in each program. There's so many people that are working behind the scene. Like just for instance, for today, I have my staff assisting me the behind the scene work, and I have to support their initiatives, that what they want to do. And then hearing them out is really important. So being supportive as a leader is very important. When you get an email or when you get a phone call and you don't answer, you don't respond, do your best in responding to that particular email or even a phone call before the next day. That's one thing that you have to tell yourself. So when I get an email, my first response to an email is, I'm in receipt of your document. If it's long and there's all these documents that are attached, I will say, I'm in receipt of your document. Thank you, I will review. And then that tells your sender, okay, good, they're in receipt of my email and document. If you're not providing immediate response, your sender is thinking that, man, my leader doesn't care. My leader doesn't care about my email, doesn't care about me. Do your best in providing the immediate response on any emails, even if it's just a courtesy saying that I'm in receipt of it. I'm pretty sure that if you can respond to your text messages the fast way you can do the same on an email. On a phone call, that if you got a message from anybody, it doesn't matter who, please respond. to that phone call. Oh, there's so many concerns. There's challenges for a lot of our customers. And I hate to call it complaints, but we don't want to lead it to complaints. There are challenges. And then as a leader, the day-to-day thing that you should be doing is also documentation. Documentation is really important. And you know why I say that? Is because it keeps you out of the court system. If you properly document your meetings, where you're going and who you've spoken to, that's your concrete documentation. Only the jurado, so-and-so said, she said this, he said this, hearsay, well, yeah, that's not valid because it's not documented anywhere. So when we say we have challenges, we have concerns, really documentation is really important. Words of praise, that's another one that you should have day to day. Oh, you have to go, good morning, yeah. Good morning, Dini. What's so good about it should need. So I have to go a step back. Okay, how are you? Come on in. Is there anything I could do? Otto, thank you for this work. Thank you for making this for me. Thank you for doing this. Thank you, Holyeni. Otto, I'm sorry, Dini eba aten. Do ahonneho. Do kushleho ishtidala. Do kushneho hasitala. I'm sorry. So, but words of praise, that can go a long way in even having a smile. So it's only after you step outside your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. Excuse me. Ya just hear other yet the nahalse. Not any jelon she not she bit bit lahne underneath adult but so it's only after you stepped outside your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. It's by Roy Bennett. And I really thought of this quote and I was like, you know what, this is really interesting because I really had to step out of my home, the reservation, to really see what's outside. And that made me grow. And it got to the point to where not ani itlani dosh late not ani do leta dan nini to nahatna akhoat ene es ani ado dini hifo aito as at jo ashin kodopa anahana zenda. So our philosophy in our traditional teaching, we were all raised and brought up differently. We all have different beliefs. But our philosophy is, as Navajos, we view the environment as a holistic view that strives for beauty, peace, joy, and harmony. The spiritual learning is sacred and makes us unique. The four sacred directions represent the following. East is your white shell. That's thinking. Njono skone koda ado njono ba tsido kosa di ado di sa iji sa di ben ho ado le be na ho ado be na ntin jo hi salam iji ado west Babylon socializing di kan de jahit halet the ne the dots in the halate the naked or king. On north a black jet, believing in all will be well. We were all taught different in a lot of these cultural teachings. But when I put together what my Nali had brought before me, it took a lot of thinking, understanding, but I wished I listened more than to avoid it. I felt like it's like every weekend somebody's in trouble, but it wasn't that. It was more like every weekend was a teaching for all of us. And every weekend, there was a different lesson by grandma, grandpa, nully man, nully lady. It was really different. And I always think to myself, if I would have listened more, I wonder how much more of the teachings I would have gained. I wonder how much more knowledge and wisdom I would have had that I could release to my siblings, my niece, my nephews, my relatives, my co-workers, my family, my Navajo people. How much more of that would I have done? I always, and I took so much for granted. And we're not getting younger, we're getting older. Ada has twido sani bahanai o hayui. O hayui go kata o yu ato neta. So as a leader, to be grounded is to go back to how you were brought up and raised. Go back to your place and think all of the things that were taught to you and put it together. You know how they have those Rubik's Cube? Put those colors into the different formation of your upbringing. Jo ega upbringing nchela ado nahasan yadelchil. Ka ishin ben nahadet nesta at elchishton e aisna adon jono ncholo at and asata instotli. And I always think, who created the Rubik's Cube? If our Navajo people, we're creative, if we could do our own traditional Rubik's Cube, man, that would be something. We get creative and, we have our own that we can create. So I always tell myself, teaching is better than a story not shared is a wasted story. This is a hay baler back in the day. This tool, this equipment really brought me to where I am today. There was a lot of discipline that had happened. And I was the one at a young age to where I was the one once the hay goes in, and then once it gets packed into a little rectangle shape, I was the one to put the wire together, and I had to move fast. Moving fast, and then while the horses are tied up to here or the tractor, and it moves, it's not going to slow down for you. You have to keep up with it. There was one day that, I wasn't moving fast enough, and there comes the whip, the leather whip, and Grandma Nully Man says, you're not moving fast enough. You got to speed it up. And all that was so harsh. And then we had to start up this engine by using a rope. Oth behangen at skilo ben stil tsinho oth ad yil wasn't adosni ebaganch the jao. Di be el jiri will yenny o tonasnes tra a contact ya totis age a cook ade osazan a call osazindo ist a nose net lanande. A lot of these parts are now obsolete. I'm sharing this story because my nullies and my grandparents shared so much. Then she yajish away hard the late non nishlik el ya not ani doesn't lay oda ishja dechan wilyani araban arabe din kid banahulne slataik it hale yen antindole. Sata ne di lale, but so kept a nulike, ye na we don't ask. Sata sato benantin ye la, sato in luadole. Ada bunch, ada best of a nutch in kid, this shit on me. So that took a lot. And my elder said, anytime we teach you something, use it as a tool to teach your next generation, your grandkids, your people. Don't keep it to yourself. We're not teaching you to keep it to yourself or to be stingy with it. Teach it to other people so our culture, our teachings will continue. Our language will continue. So one story that I had before I got to this was, remember when you're in a grade school, there's always, you're in a classroom and then Okay, everybody, teacher in me. Okay, everybody, let's line up with it. Okay, today Prophelia is the leader. Line leader. Not knowing that our educators back then were teaching us. As a line leader, we had roles, we had responsibility. You're a leader. So if you're the leader up front and then you're a leader in the back, the najabel al-khanji nilo, elajit na rahit dosen, ikede na rahit dosen, elajit na rahit santle, okedo na rahit san, ako jono taho ishlahot. So you have brothers and sisters. Me being the oldest, I have a younger sister. So our siblings have to listen to the oldest one and then the younger one. And then what happens if one makes a mistake? The older one gets the blame, the younger one gets the blame. So it's like, okay, that's the teaching, that's part of it. So then I was a line leader for such a time, and then the back leader. And I was really happy about this. And I used to go home back to Nali's house every weekend, and during summertime, every other weekend. And during summertime, when dad is off work, mom's off work, they'll take us to grandma's place or Nali's place. I really wanted to go to grandma's place, but I always went to Nali's place. But Nali's place is where the discipline happened. And I was so happy, to make the long story short, and I was so happy, and I was telling my Nali later, line leader, suddenly, yeah. Line leader, suddenly, and I was like, what does he mean? Line leader, line leader. Line leadership on me. Oh man, did I get grills for so many more tasks and duties. So I thought it was a good story that I was going to tell, but more expectations. The bar just got higher from my Nali. Okay, she's a line leader at school. This is now 5th grade, 6th grade. And then I was like, man, I shouldn't even have spoken about being a line leader. So then I became more of a leader at the home as well. That's a little story. So moving forward, I always told myself, okay, Sani edonat ani do lefta nota bayata iti. Nate esquido sani yata ti. Ado na atesh kid chama. Shija shik ishen yasani donat ani do lefta. Shohe jo anen dikha ha ye. Ado, to make that long story short, in Salka, Dinike manna hasam bakatne dani. Sani walieni eho wade not anile. The neto ho wade not anile. A son and line ehon nepelha that not anile. The ne o diki, I thought not aninitle. A codin selka, a cosani anat anidole, a conde. Ohan sahajet, edi ist ehoto, lito nahotos. Not nahotos, beton jono not orta, no daya, a hot arms at car, a codi, nahastan humanlini sahi lady and se costole. Ado yes, zindole, any dole, the nahat apollo dole, jo di hot so on Mother Earth, it was the finding was to have a vision, and within that vision, it provides direction and guidance to reach our goals. A learner chooses her own cultural learning styles and experiences as a way to set goals and priorities. A self-directed learner is one who is only involved, but who also leads her own learning processes with a vision to accomplish goals and priority qualities acquired through endurance and stability. Hajo was kahadet edon le naste. Jo e batsi kosani nit lini ahanit. Le tratin destin de nachos hahot edo ditne. Adult Kenson builds a positive relationship, recognizing an individual's value and expressing concern of their need often goes a long way. Human relation is important to individuals and or group of people. Human relation can impact cost, competitiveness, and a long-term economic sustainability of the business. Motivation. The spirit of motivation and comprehension are in the understanding of love that comes from our feelings. The thoughts, the mind keeps us as peace and harmony with everything that we learn. In order to develop good behavior, a good attitude, a good personality, we develop good motivation. We will have positive feelings to learn, to listen. Not only a self-awareness. Know about you, know about yourself. The better you know about adapting, the better you know you are adapting the life changes that suit your needs. The more you pay attention to your emotions, and how you work, the better you will understand why you do things the way you do. Wanting to be treated with respect means understanding that you also have to give others respect. Today, the findings or motivation and self-awareness. Halan he masana don he che in ni nalata hada da bega hapan sinya ashkadash ne da bend nan idole khayla pa makhayla pa nalla khayla pa masana beje hada la naga et don an jo chon khate si kustwido sani. And then there was a leadership teaching. Once a great leader of the NANIT'IN had a vision for his people to learn the Western education and use it to survive in ever-changing American society, but to continue practicing the cultural language and philosophy we follow today. Oh, you not only dan long tatahodo jish, kode kadish beta il do dadat atish beta huil bash honitza. Those upon Honizada, Joe Yugo Natin of what a cock the neck at a not ani, not ani a tseta, but a hotlini all yet, Chicago Shidane. The leaders have high status in the society. Adon ne not ani a gestat o ish. The leaders will lead his people to a safe place. Dihut be tati kanini not ani. From the beginning, Behasi put up it Hadidi Kaedoni Zena, a stun he age Nihinat Ani Lini art and ot a Kodo be Kato beach in Ka not Ani Questan Lido, which a destiny the leaders are respected and look up to. And I think these teachings to my grandfather and grandmothers, what I my Lini Johnson Denison, what hey, di what oh, you not Ani, Saho Ani, John Lini the not ani benatje ha'ahonne. A leader makes people safe and confident. Ha'inofnido ha'ahonne. Ha'shinit eshi not ani lini at not ani dan lini. Oyobede said anna and let the sad lini that the shish. Dodan hitisan dan hitani nishi. Adon bande nishi do ahananat. Ako what not anish laha seat yes at the shishnana kojabanda nish ana a hidden da do yat eho ho ho aho anegi ihi jo sato koto not ani no sini sho ndenosi ha illa at shishta ani shizada tado hot ego chosh ada tnan let yashtke jo ani hit not ani ni glomben hit itledi jo be etaha izi artishne it's time to reflect on your style, your traits, your characters. A leader leads his people into the future. Not ani nas ito ish. Dik akwaena do ni di. Kadnle ho waje business on kata keshte ho jish. Di kwa kata det o kishte kwa te ne di chinyan li ne kwa di ne di chi. Ado otan hidden on da jichi odo eta. Jo aje not ani itlin ho wado hahot ita. The leader plans with his people or her people. Not ani etin ne. Yesn taha and jono hot yesn tahoit stetoni. Eta chon his kan da jande sa shi hot an hi taho Okodi not ani lini kwaho asa. Ado shon lej di band ilte konchian do chito ad bachian da dilni da no da hot ahil da lishne kade do it inda ade besna all of what labels da hand il what on da it da di no hot do de di base ben da sa hol net so da no da ya chuk ade ya oyo do hot egon hilho a condenat ani ni lini Shahoshin dilni lot engine musla. Aro kunne tada ben el khalido be need a leadership ethics ilne. Responsibility. Responsibility is a fundamental characteristic of any leadership role. Khaishi di not anindle it didn't ole ne nasala ne edili khala ne benados leo qua involved et do nandi kede da do bin shratini ena ne nasala it didn't keep in mind that it is your responsibility to carry out your leadership tasks even though you might have been delegated your task or was distracted. You cannot sit back and think someone will resolve the situation. Osha etolni etota. Osh eshin deshketo sha etoli etota. Anne not ani no anne enle ne be honsen shete shlicht no ka enamish lek elia not hoti lito ena ito lito ko eben na hotzot lito etota jo di ethics it yego betskate o she yo kodobe et de shishna hanende jo hot art dans twido sani ye ya dart yo shot be she ya ho had the late kwa di inland or edne nasa latne be nohni ados as yujo adobits and this case it's on daily. Be courteous in the workplace. There is nothing wrong to say good morning, thank you, with a warm smile. Kepe yajilti, kepe yanti, kepe den konshi ya shichet kombatindashnish. Nana shia shamaya kesh shade loya chendanish. Ado kojito nana shia nana sta shabeji kesh nale. Oh, you are dahinil. Good morning. Have a good day. Thank you for being here today. Although a leader of the people is considered strong, but he or she is still a human being and have emotional and physical health to be concerned. Therefore, it is best to be healthy to be a leader in the way of leadership. One will use spiritual blessing, exercise daily, Meditation and retreat with leadership becomes stressful. Itaha zanizan, itaha hasan, do itahastye. Hada da late not ani will yeni behut eat little. Ahwa itaha zanzan dole. Ado sabe yajilti be itaha zanzan ahwa tazim bahastye. Hada da the naaza bahatziho, do she bit janida. Hada da late quat sun late the nelate they got aza behind the or do up the nida dole she yaja on it nidole. Quajin or naholna, na action and it's okay, nalike, na manja and nicate and lini, na mayajiken da ke. Ado nikaya ninatroshi, Aja go up at the aina ba aholia. Those were really harsh ethics that were raised to us back in the day. We still practice it, some of us. Best practice in leader, know yourself, know where you come from. Teaching the power of natural language. Build your foundation. Have a positive attitude. I love my job. I love what I do. I love my job. I love human resources. I love giving back to my people. So I have to go back to how I'm grounded. Breathing in the air, the nature, going back and building on my foundation, having that positive attitude, everything will be well. The khayda ko ya iga hota the shinda the bat like a gal topashdo kat a queta pashdo kat johot asa here the ho ado or and that's it kose not there if got it up on sing kiss ado on it and it's easy. We all make mistakes, there's no perfect person. Oh you go that ye zito it's ado oh ahi we learn from them. Ado oh no oh learn to give and not borrow. What I found out is the more you give, the more you get in return. Never have negative feelings or say negative things toward each other. You're only hurting yourself and the ones you love the most. Sleeping on the sheepskin and staying close to nature built my strength. Ya tiel, but cotton than he kaho, on chon adesne. At a tesk and a hanas, no chon that besafia. Question that the hollow the question is the dust and auto bell later. Sla a tesk at hota be in that she be cut that in the water bit that the yeah. But to really build your strength is to go back close to Mother Earth as you can as a leader. Try it. Try sleeping on the floor. Lay out your mats and do your best in sleeping on the floor. And then it's going to build your strength, her posture, the net that the on we nego najdahle. Jo e ahisne ya theleng about the hayosna. A kohashine not ya lini adon nati that the yell bafanisi nanati that was our table on najinjiti it does ni on jitito ado asagi or being does the chill. Those late na isna da shikedo shidne. A konat ani itlini yego na isna at Ako hajo ihidenosen ado hajo chohos yego sad yat ehi hajo besh yata shikedo shidene ihidenosen ihidilzen edonit eta na antindo donit eta o yugo na antin at ishit on needy it qua di benadni benaditse do dash to needle, clap bohos and John Charles idole, ado deep and not net high, clap no sino, shit or thief, shit in le, ado an hibanso case of beef died on it. You're more than welcome to request for my presentation and use it to the best of your ability. add what your teachings are to it and teach it. Don't ask for such and such amount of money to do a presentation. Don't go off the nation to learn about leadership. It's already within you. Don't Las Vegas, Albuquerque, Phoenix, Goya, leadership training that don't know that come. It's hitting the host neto, it hitting the notino, hit the host. Share what else at all, then not in I don't con lay the honey, lady could has any of it better husband. So, on hit than he need, angel on that of the hot. So if you want a copy of my presentation, send me an email and we'll go ahead and send that out to you. Again, courtesy email. I did customer service on how to make a request to the email. Don't just say, send me a presentation. Use your customer service. In email in our chat session and to where you can make your requests. But Ashin Kodon Hitch and Hasi or less watch it, Edo should ne, Adon das machine Jonon here, Ato, and Jono, he doesn't will yenny at hard job, but though a yo on Hala Nasa, the Ahozenda is calm nado, Daffy, the Bahozenda, Joanna, a dartist or a Hansen, but I couldn't hit Nasus net or less, don't I hear Edo should ne. Thank you to all the listeners. I appreciate you tuning in. And I'll go ahead and hand it back off to Raphael.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Fowler, for your encouraging words, the presentation, as well as the opportunity to share that information with those on the call. And also, thank you to President Jonathan Nez for joining us and providing some encouraging words, as well as Shar Kruger for the opening remarks with Staff Development and Training Department, and of course, Eli with OPVP, who's hosting us today and extending today's presentation to the general public using Facebook. So we definitely appreciate those attending via the Zoom webinar platform, as well as those attending through Facebook as well. So thank you very much for that. With that remaining time here, please join us for the last of the 4-part of the virtual NANIT'IN webinar series next week. On Wednesday, we'll be discussing motivation and understanding techniques. And as some of you may be aware, May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we are hoping to discuss those types of topics leading up into the last webinar in that. And as far as leadership, it is a great asset to promote and engage with your emotional intelligence to understand your employees that much better, as well as your community members and those within your family. Again, we appreciate your engagement. Please complete the post-webinar survey that you'll receive via email for those who have registered. We definitely appreciate your feedback. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the rest of your week. I'll go next.